What is up, my viewers? Spang here, bringing you another World of Tanks gameplay commentary. I'm kind of rushing this simply because I started recording a little late into the match, and rather than start over, I'd rather just speak really quickly. Now that the introduction is out of the way, we have a game submitted from one of you guys. His name is Error, and he has submitted, well, he's gone by a few different aliases on my channel, but he is the only tier 10 in this matchup. Let's increase that map size so we can see what is going on quite easily. And he is driving his Obj.140. The tier 10 Russian or Soviet, whatever you typically want to refer to it as, medium tank. Now, it is a very powerful tank. It is a very standard tank, at least last I checked. A lot of people go for these sort of 140s, the 62As, you know, the medium tanks in general. The Russian mediums are usually strong standby medium tanks within the game. Some call that Russian bias. Looks like he will get a spot here. The replay lagging a little bit, but he will get a hit on the AMX CDC. A part of me kind of feels like that was me, simply because I have been that guy more than once, driving my CDC, driving across an open area like that, trying to get ahead of the enemy team, and getting shot for my trouble. Looks like he will ricochet with that strong Russian armor. The turret just beautifully rounded to bounce shells for days. The CDC getting a little ballsy here. E50 driving up, looking like he will hit Error for a good amount of damage, a solid 330. Now, the E50's average damage, last I checked, is 390, so at least I think I'm right on that. And that might only be if he has the upgraded gun. Still, not too shabby. I could be, like I said, it's been a while, and in fact, I've never really gone up the German medium line, as it were. Looks like this T-44 has a stock something. I forget what the star is, but I think that means gun, or it means he has stock something. Let us just leave it at that. It means he isn't fighting at his full potential. The E50, on the other hand, I forgot, definitely is fighting at his full potential because he has neither one of those little designators there. At least in terms of turret and gun, those are usually marked by something by this mod pack. So you can tell at an easier glance rather than having to look too closely at their vehicle. ST1 pushing up pretty hard, or rather I should say turtling pretty hard up in the north here as friendly forces do push around. Looks like the enemy team has claimed the lighthouse area, kind of made their way up there. The teams are pretty even in both hit points and number of vehicles remaining, and really anyone's game at this point, although it looks like Error's team is pushing pretty hard on that 1-2 line and looking to capitalize on that advantage. Error kind of making his little peekaboo game here with the E50 exposing a lot of his side armor. Will he get shot for it? No, he won't. E50 too busy focusing on another vehicle. I believe it was a T-34 possibly. Something died next to him for sure. AMX 1390 up on the hill looking to try and shoot down, but simply not having the penetration. Yeah, and that was a T-34 friendly dying there to the 1390 actually. The 110 sitting up on this hill over here, battling with a T-28 and a KV-4. Knowing those vehicles, the 110 already has his hands full, and Error's like, well, I'm going to come put you out of your misery a little bit sooner. A nice little shot, choosing not to zoom in, and honestly paying for it. If he had just chosen to really change his view to the scope, maybe would have helped him out there. Instead, trying to take an ever aim approach, and it really didn't pay off. Finally getting some payback damage there. I do understand the importance of being in third-person view, or rather third tank view, since whatever, but still, that really is only of value when you are circling an opponent and trying to really pay attention to where you're driving. And even in those situations, a lot of people just use auto aim so they can focus more on where they're driving. I don't really think there was a need there to remain in third person other than just his own personal preference, but I think it possibly could have helped him hit his mark a little bit easier. The STA-2, really not a vehicle of any sort of notable armor, and demonstrating it right there, choosing barely to zoom in at all, but still hitting his mark. Me, I can't get enough of the zoom in. In fact, I prefer to zoom in as much as I possibly can in order to have my target exactly where I want to hit, just in case the RNG sends it right for the center of my reticle. Still, personal preferences, I would argue mine is more effective, but that, again, it's just really my opinion more than anything. Still, looking like he will get an easy shot on this Waffenträger E100, and possibly one more. At this point, he is raking in the damage at over 3K, and the enemy team really fighting back their way to survival. Tank number of surviving tanks is even, but hit points definitely still favoring Error's team. And that 1390 still trying to be a sneaky little bastard up on the hill. Error possibly going to take a blind shot. He will, but his round simply just going too far outside of the center of the circle. And right now, that Waffenträger still a very large threat. This T-28 most likely going to die here, putting the enemy tanks remaining in the enemy team's favor. Did I say enemy? Whatever. You know what I mean. Just one more example of how out of practice I am, for certain. The T-62, one of the few remaining vehicles, that Obj.140 last spotted 1-2 line, Leopard PTA barely alive, 1390 hanging on by a thread, although a bit more healthy than that Leopard PTA, but honestly, all of them potential one-shots or guaranteed one-shots by Error here. The 140 moving forward still has over half of his hit points, so certainly in a good spot. This Waffenträger Panzer IV certainly could ruin that for him, but behind the hill. Don't know what Error's trying to aim at here, but he's got no shots whatsoever. Leopard PTA is certainly a more likely target, especially if he tries to get a little aggressive. But instead, looks like he's going to play around. Ooh, not a high enough roll, and the 1390 looking to put some hurt on. Error really making some mistakes here in terms of dealing with his 1390. In fact, exposing a lot of the weaker points of his tank to the vehicle. And now pretty much everything on the enemy team, except for that tank destroyer, are one-shots. Another one goes down. Another one bites the dust. T-62 and 1390 both being taken out. I'm sorry, Leopard PTA. 1390 still alive. On the backside of that hill, I was almost thinking that Leopard PTA probably would have gotten taken out by the charioteer, and maybe he did. I wasn't able to actually pin who got that kill before the kill feed faded. The 140 doing pretty well for itself this match, moving in on the 704. 1390 possibly going to kill this friendly tortoise, but nope, goes the other way. In fact, I take that back. Enemy 1390 crashed. Sad for him. 140 moving again still to take out the 704, and not really the best of situations. Looks like the Waffenträger did kill the Waffenträger there, and all that remains on a pretty even playing field, 13 to 13 hit points, barely 300 apart, are the tortoise and the 140 here for Error's team. You know, him and his ally, while the enemy team has two pretty healthy tank destroyers left. I mean, the Waffenträger very healthy. 704 pretty much going to be 2 shots for Error to kill. Even more likely than not, 2 shots for the tortoise to kill. While on the other hand, Error is certainly a one-shot. The only thing he can hope for is a ricochet. So he's got to be a little bit sneaky here, going to the back, getting behind some bushes, playing some defense. Don't know if he'll outspot anything coming down that 1-2 line. Well, I suppose I should rephrase. He will certainly outspot it, but at the same time, I feel like he should be in middle, supporting his tortoise ally a bit, trying to give some covering fire against that nearly full health Waffenträger. And right now, his Tortoise, unfortunately, may end up dying. Tortoise is by no means a pushover, but I feel like it is a little bit outmatched when it comes to the Waffenträger kind of duel. Now, to highlight the strengths and weaknesses, Tortoise certainly has a good DPM, a high rate of fire, and pretty decent frontal armor, but that is not impenetrable, as we just saw, lost 600 hit points. Now, the thing where the Waffenträger excels at is a bit more accuracy. Definitely, I want to say his DPM is comparable, but his alpha, his damage per shot, although it does not look like he has the upgraded gun, that doesn't look right to me for the most powerful gun. Maybe they shortened it, I'm not sure. Again, working with a lot of different information here between patches. But finally, Error taking what I thought was the smart option to begin with and supporting his tortoise as a kind of back and forth here. The Waffenträger certainly in the more advantageous position when it's just TD versus TD. And maybe the tortoise gets the kill, but it's really going to be iffy here. It could go either way. Either one of them could get the kill, although it looks like Error will not. I thought he might have had it there, but Waffenträger backed too far out of his view range. And now both the tortoise and 140 very close to death. One shots for any of the remaining TDs on the enemy team. And it can really go either way at this point. It's a close match. Anyone can win. And it looks like the 704, Error's initial gut feeling that you know, the 704 would have gone for the capture was 100% correct. Looks like he might be exposed here to this Waffenträger, although unspotted, unless he doesn't have Sixth Sense, which I find highly unlikely. But the Waffenträger going to get a little bit lucky, and Error's shot goes a little to the left. Not to mention, he probably just did not lead the target quite well enough. I do believe RG had a little bit of a factor there, but Error not going to take the blind fire, thinking that there might be some obstacles in the way, and he might be right on that. Still, he needs to do something about the 704, but maybe the Tortoise can handle this Waffenträger before he goes. It's unclear. Nope, he gets the kill. Monster kill number 6, and moving back to save his cap. So really driving all over the map at this point. Looks like number of hits tanked, amount of damage blocked by armor, 1,050. Not quite sure if that is accurate. That part of this mod pack has always been kind of iffy. And you are a hero asshole. So I guess he's saying he's upset with the 140 a little bit. Oh, never aim. I'm sorry, never aim. I do record my commentaries in 3s, and this is number 3 for the day. And as you know, my last video was never aim. So yeah, Severin, it's Error, not never aim. And the amount of times I accidentally say never aim's name during commentary, kind of embarrassing. But still, looks like he will get spotted. Error, not never aim, gets spotted, but to really no punishing effect other than the 704 knows where he's coming from. So at the very least, at this point in the match, probably a draw. Although the time difference might be wide enough to where the 704 would win. It's a hard call. I can't recall what the actual time difference is. They are 6 to 7 seconds apart, and that might be a wide enough gap to where the 704 would win the match in a cap out. But I can't say that for sure. It's been too long since I've been in this kind of situation. I mean, the amount of times this occurs in a match are very rare. Like, for me, it's once in 1,000 games. 704 getting caught with its pants down, turned around, and kill number 7 there for Error. So very good job. And we're pretty much going to go to those post-game stats and see how everyone else did. And here we go with those post-game stats I was talking about. Now, I am trying to shorten these and ramble less, so we'll see if I can succeed at that. Still, earning himself quite a bit of medals, getting Defender, Steel Wall, High Caliber, and Top Gun. So a 4 kind of, you can't even call it a triple threat, it's quadruple threat here. I do find it kind of funny how the enemy called him a bit of, like, there was a lot of hero hate, as it were. I guess they were saying he was a glory hog or some sort of deal like that because of the number of medals he got. Now, this is on Quickie Baby, so it says Super Unicum. Still, let's see where everyone fell in terms of damage. The Waffenträger certainly, and the 704 on the enemy team doing the most amount of damage. And like I said previously, simply a very easy way of racking and stacking. The Tortoise also doing quite well for himself. The ST1 friendly doing quite a good job. There was one on the enemy team, not so hot, but I mean, you guys can see how everyone else did right here. Going to specifics, 30 shots fired, 21 pens, and 21 hit and 20 pens. A bit of a damage, about half of his damage dealt from more than 300 meters, and quite a bit blocked by armor. Looks like the mod was right in that. And potential damage total is close to 3,000, so certainly more hit points than he had, but I mean, we could have all guessed that for sure. For sure. Rah, rah. Definitely getting a little bit tired, but I guess it's good because that wraps it up for this video. If you like this, let me know. For sure, hit that like button. If you want to see more, subscribe. And if you got a replay, well, instructions for that and more in the description below. And if you got suggestions on how I can make my videos or channel better, certainly let me know in the comments. And until next time, this has been Spang, and I'm just clearly oh so professional. MLG.